Enter 2008. World of Warcraft reigned king. The Burning Crusade was in full swing, and the Wrath of the Lich King expansion was just around the corner. The NRG Phantom is the gaming PC I wish I had back then. Instead, I had this. Provided by my parents for schoolwork, meet the Toshiba M50-161, featuring a Pentium M single-core, single-thread processor running at 1.6 GHz and 512 MB of RAM. Graphics were provided by the onboard mobile 915 GM chipset, with a soaring passmark score of just 5. It ran WoW. Just. It still does to this day, surprisingly. I've owned many laptops since, but they've all had hardware failures bar one. This old Toshiba just won't die. I haven't looked into World of Warcraft on this since the vanilla days, and it certainly was a trip down memory lane. It runs WoW just as horribly now as it did back then, but it was my entry into the MMO world and computer gaming as a whole. I might talk about my memories with World of Warcraft at a later date, but this isn't the video for it. We've got an actual gaming PC to test. As expected, our 2008 gaming PC maxes out classic World of Warcraft effortlessly, and boy, is the nostalgia running thick through my veins. Onwards with our testing, we moved to Fallout 3. There's something absolutely stunning about Bethesda titles. They were one of the first game development companies to do open world on such a large scale. I remember vividly getting lost in Morrowind when I was younger. There's something magical about getting to explore an alternate world. The stories, the characters, the landscapes. I look at it as a movie that never ends until you want it to. The non-linear progression gives thousands of hours of entertainment, and you pick the adventure. Do you want to know what happened to your dad? You can work on finding him. Or do you want to go and explore that distant town? You can do that too. Fallout 3 was released in 2008, the same year our rig was built, and I'll tell you, it's a match made in heaven. The settings used for our Fallout 3 testing were Ultra, with 2x anti-aliasing, and we saw an average of 58.2 frames a second, with our 1% lows getting down to 21.8 frames a second. It looks better than I remember on console, and benchmarking this game really made me want to do a full playthrough. Grand Theft Auto 4 was released to PC on the 2nd of December 2008, a few months after it was released to consoles. I finished this title on my main gaming rig just last year, and I played it on my Xbox 360 back in the day. It's still a great game, but it's got a reputation for being one of the least optimised PC ports ever. Rockstar's minimum system spec states the processor you need to run this title is a 1.8 GHz Core 2 Duo, and we've got over twice that clock speed. Running at the lowest settings, you can see on the on-screen display our CPU sitting at 100% usage, while the graphics cards are averaging about 30%. This is reflected on our results, with an average frame rate of 45.7, but the 1% lows reaching 2.4 frames a second. These results show how important it is to measure the 1% lows, not just the average frame rate, because this was not an enjoyable experience. It would be interesting to see how GTA 4 would run on the minimum system spec processor, considering it was this stuttery on our 4 GHz overclocked beast. I think I'll have to revisit this title and find out. Jumping straight into the Farcry 2 benchmarks, we had to turn the graphics settings down to low to combat the stutters caused by the Core 2 Duo running at 100% usage. On low settings, we managed an average of 111 frames per second, with our 1% lows at 39.2 frames. An enjoyable experience. When we turned the settings up to medium, we saw an average of 87 frames per second, but our 1% lows dropped to 2.6. The higher we turned up these settings, the worse these stutters became. Looking at the results from this benchmark, one thing was clear. Our dual 9800 GTXs are being held back by the Core 2 Duo. Even with the 4 GHz overclock, we are having to run the game at low settings to get a playable experience in this title, and that's a shame. Even then, the CPU is working at full tilt, whilst the graphics cards still have plenty of room to flex their muscles. I'm not sure if it was an oversight of the original builders with this pairing. I know for $3,300 I would have expected a quad-core processor. In my next video, I'll be upgrading the NRG Tornado with one of my favourite quad-core friends, the $20 Q6600. I want to see what our graphics cards are capable of, and I don't want to run into any more bottlenecks. So, whilst you're at it, I've got an 8GB RAM kit to max out the memory on this board. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll try and pump out the next video as fast as I can. I hope you're enjoying watching this tech venture as much as I'm enjoying creating it.